video. God bless each and every one of you. I'm praying for each and every one of you. This truly is an American nightmare. It is an American nightmare, and I bring you this message with love because I want you to see the bigger picture and critically think. If you're not already doing this, and I know my loyal audience, you guys are the big thinkers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, is that better? I switched Wi-Fi, so before I get started, to make sure this is useful information to you, if you could just like, share it, and comment that you can actually see me, hear me with audio, visual. What's up, Spencer? How are we doing? What is up, JJ? You guys can hopefully hear me well. Okay, great. This is the American nightmare. And I want you to guys to be tactical. I want you to be strategic. And I want you to understand what's really going on here. So let's take a look at what just happened in the last 24, 48 hours with the Trump raid. From the perspective of Donald Trump, honestly, this is the best thing that could have ever happened to him in regards to his campaign launch for running in 2024. In fact, if I was a steward of Donald Trump's campaign and his political operative in charge, I would have actually recommended that Donald Trump encourage and plan the raid on himself. That would only help coalesce his base and fuel this crazy political support for his eventual run. This is truly the greatest thing that could have ever happened, actually, for Trump's base. But I want to talk about this at a higher level, because I don't want to just talk about this in the ancillary narratives of the right-left party system, because all you're hearing right now is the chatterboxing of very distinct political narratives, the Ben Shapiro's of the world, the Dan Bonginos, you got the Laura Loomers over here, you've got CNN, MSNBC News over here. It's only helping to weaponize and create the intentional division that they want. For example, if I was attempting to destroy and eternally collapse a once great free nation state and constitutional republic like the United States of America, I would do exactly what's currently happening right now. Create massive political division on the ground, use that against the American people so that they fight each other. This is the very definition of divide and conquer. I would parrot a very specific, continued, and repeated message by the mainstream media that, if repeated enough, no matter whether or not it was true or not, people would believe it as truth. I would get rid of independent, critical, high-level thinking at a much higher level that saw the forest through the trees, and I would eliminate it. I would then have politicians like Marco Rubio espouse just basic, low-level thinking. For example, equating the United States to a banana republic, a country like Venezuela, where political opposition will raid your home, and then when the next guy gets in power, they'll raid your home, etc., which are all truths. And I'm not saying he's partly right about that, but he's only feeding in to the very specific narrative that they want you to see. So here's my point. I would trust nothing that you see right now. None of it. This is all a political circus concocted for a very specific reason, because this is the demoralization phase of a country and the final nail in the coffin, which ends a once great sovereign nation state. In fact, these were the exact same tactics that the United States used against the former USSR before its collapse. These are the exact same tactics and strategy used in the Arab Spring protests that many countries feared in the world would spread to them through color revolutions that would eventually collapse the internal political structure of said country. This is actually the truth. This is what is happening in America today. What they're doing is attempting to have people put their faith in political leadership that's not going to solve the problem. So no matter who wins in 2024, Trump, if he runs, Biden, if he runs again, or whoever they choose to run for the Democratic Party, it's not going to change, in my opinion, anything regarding this larger picture and outcome. And the reason for this, ladies and gentlemen, they don't want a single sovereign nation state, any country like that, whether or not it's the United States or any other, to exist in a world where they want every country as one working together. So again, you couldn't lay this out with a blueprint more systematically and methodically and strategically at such a high level that it would turn the American people against each other and create harshness, incivility, hostility. And now what they're saying could be a worst case scenario in the United States that will soon spiral out of control, which is exactly what's going to happen, unfortunately. This truly is a worst case scenario. We're not in an approaching calm before a storm. We are now in the eye of the hurricane or tornado, so to speak, in the United States. Let me give you an example of just pure cognitive dissonance, okay, amongst the American people. Whether or not you agree with me or disagree doesn't matter. I just want you to think outside of the box. You're telling me that the dude out of Austin, Texas with a megaphone accidentally leaked 2 years worth of cell phone records to the opposing legal team on accident, that then gave that information to the 3-letter agencies that have since and are using the information to go after Trump, Roger Stone, and media personalities like Tucker Carlson? You're telling me the king of the guy who always says everything's an inside job accidentally leaked that information out, that critical, proprietary, confidential information? I don't believe that for a minute. Either he cut a deal, is in on it, or has always been in on it. And that's actually where the real truth lies. That's just one example of critical thinking. And you can decide what you want to believe. But I don't believe that for a minute. That is an absolute joke. And I would argue again, Trump probably called the raid on himself intentionally. That would be great politics. If I was advising him, I would have told him to do that, because it will achieve the end goal and a means to an end of exactly what they want. Get the American people caught like a hook on a fish, thinking that one party's going to solve their problems when it's not. I mean, if you look at the American Constitutional Republic, for example, it was built on human rights and the foundational principles, although imperfect, and we have somewhat of a troubled past. We were still the greatest country in the world. I really believe this. And we've been the greatest experiment, I think, for freedom and liberty that's ever existed in the history of the world. But it was always built on individual liberty and sovereignty and cowboys and kind of the wild nature of people that wanted to be free and wanted the government outside of their business. Versus today, which they're turning it into this collective environment where they've used generational propaganda, okay, against you, which is what they always count on, the people in charge. So the younger generations don't have the same values as the previous generations. For example, moving from the bedrock of Christianity, the nation built under God, these are all my opinions, a moral backbone, to what we have today, which is moral decay, culture wars, inconsistencies of where we stand as a country. And notice what they just did. They have created such a lack of trust, intentionally, because this helps bring down the country, in the very bedrock of all the institutions that currently exist in the United States of America. The 3-letter agencies, the courts, the politicians, basically everybody in charge, not to mention the bankers, etc. They've done that by design. Okay? Again, if I was the guy from the outside, say a aggressor of freedom, not only am I eating popcorn and laughing right now, I'm applauding myself for helping to fuel the collapse in such a beautiful orchestrated way where the people on the ground can't even see it. So here's why I'm making this video, no matter where you stand on the political aisle. Because just like Jesus, he said, let Caesars be Caesars. So let Caesars be Caesars. Realize that there's no political solution. Be smarter than the political machine. This is exactly what they want. For example, let me give you another example of critical thinking and cognitive dissonance. People will say things like, Christopher, when are they going to go after the guy on the island, remember, with the black book, who's no longer with us? When are they going to go after those people in the book? Well, Trump was in that book, and so was everyone else. Republican, Democrat, Fortune 100 leaders, politicians worldwide, they were all in the book. That's another example of cognitive dissonance. I'll give you another example of cognitive dissonance. The guy in a chair out in Austin, Texas, who casually, accidentally leaked all those 2 years worth of cell phone records? Yeah. We're really supposed to believe that to the three-letter agencies that are now working against everybody in this country, and in my opinion, helping to bring it down, quite frankly, has said things like, the thing that we can't talk about, you don't want to do. But even though Trump helped usher it in, he's now suddenly going to support him more than ever. That's like saying you don't approve or like the color green. And then after 3 years of telling people stay away from the color green, all of a sudden shift dramatically and say, you know what? I don't have any integrity anymore. I'm going to just go with the color green. It's imperfect, but I like it now. I think you guys probably understand what I'm trying to say here. Everything that you're seeing right now is an absolute illusion. It can't be trusted at all. Nothing you see is real. This is a clown show, and it is a circus act meant to control the American people and meant as a permanent final nail in the coffin and a guaranteed demolition internally from foreigners outside of the country that don't like freedom, in my opinion, and internally of people that have already been corrupted. It's not to say that there's still not good people within the United States. There are. But again, this is no different than what happened to the USSR or in the Arab Spring. You're now living through it in the United States of America. Keep in mind, no problems have been solved. Okay, the United States is still in epic amounts of debt that can never be paid back. Credit card debt among households doubled over the last month. Doubled, based on some of the reports I was reading yesterday. We are engaged in a world war. Okay, Russia just backtracked from all their nuclear agreements with the United States and the West, which means we're on the precipice of something, gosh forbid, very dangerous happening there, which could spread to Europe. We see now, as a result of Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, China now appearing to permanently having established a new normal in that area, running sorties around the dividing line with all of its naval ships, all of its capabilities in the sky, the space wars, all those kinds of things, setting a new precedent for their eventual, in my opinion, I've warned about this for years, imminent takeover and invasion of Taiwan. Okay, the emergence of an entirely new system being led by China in the East and the BRICS nations, and really the last breaths and whimpering of the Republic here in the United States. So my point is, this is exactly what they want, guys. If you can't see the forest through the trees right now, you're honestly not that smart. And if you're simply just falling into the partisanship, okay, of various megaphones that never think outside of it, you're missing the real point. Again, what do you think is going to happen next here in the United States of America? Guaranteed more division. Guaranteed. It hasn't been this bad, honestly, since the 1800s. They are now saying and prognosticating that, Trump, God forbid, and Biden, God forbid, could be taken out. I wouldn't rule that off the table at all. We haven't seen this since the days of Nixon and JFK. But again, in my opinion, this is exactly what people need to really understand and see. How does that help the country strengthen? How does that help the country unify? How does that hold up the principles and freedom of liberty when there's no trust in our institutions anymore? When the average American on both sides does not trust the institutional bedrock, although imperfect, that actually held America together for all these generations. It's over. That's the hard truth. It's absolutely over. And we are at a point now where there's no political solution. The only solution is Jesus Christ. The only solution is you, okay, building your arcs, your financial arcs, your economic, your spiritual arcs, getting your communities ready, protecting you and yours and your family, helping each other, remaining steadfast in prayer, and in my opinion, only kneeling for Jesus Christ and nothing else. Nothing in this culture, nothing in this world, okay, no political party. Again, the only thing that we're getting, real leaders unite. They do not divide. They don't create more partisanship and division, which is exactly what this country and the media is doing. And most of all, the politicians are currently doing as well. This isn't getting better, it's getting worse. Whether or not it's Trump or Biden, the country's been moving the wrong direction for years now, arguably decades. So this has been happening over a systematic period of time. Again, if you study the phases of collapse, okay, and you understand the psychological warfare that's played on the ground through media propaganda and now technology, you would understand we're in the last breathing heartbeat stages of a writhing system and country that will soon fall. And it warns of this in the Bible. This is Babylon, quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen. We have become corrupted at such a high level, in my opinion, that there really is no turning back. The only thing that could save us is Jesus Christ. So I actually thought about how to present this video today, because the whole point of it is I just want you guys thinking, okay? And I want you proactive and prepared. I don't want you to get caught up in the Mad Max madness, which is only going to hurt you. And so I'll be completely honest with you right now. If you're getting caught up in just the partisanship, just that narrative, and you're in your own individual silo of CNN or Fox News, you're going to find yourself in a much worse position in the coming months. You know, the first thing they do when they're taking down a sovereign nation state is they create confusion. They create fear, where you no longer know what to believe, who to believe, what or who to trust. How is that not exactly where we are in the United States? You don't allow critical thinking. You don't allow intellectuals that are on not necessarily any side of the aisle just to ask questions about what's going on. When's the last time you saw a politician ask questions and actually communicate with the other side? I've talked about this with a lot of my intellectual friends before, but like, we could run the country better. Even if we disagreed, we can actually communicate and find some kind of middle ground to hold the unity of the United States of America, to progress it in a way that would hopefully benefit the majority and not just, you know, a small minority group. Things have never been perfect in the United States, and I think we can all admit that. But we have been the greatest example, in my opinion, in the greatest nation of freedom and liberty that has ever existed, and it is now falling, in my opinion, in just a short couple hundred years. So, is there anything else that I missed? I really don't think so. I think I brought up a couple excellent points that you should critically think about today. And also think about this. Many of these political figures tell you exactly what you want to hear and then do the opposite. I see this all the time. All the time. They tell you what they want you to hear. They do the exact opposite, and then they tell you what you want to hear again, and then they continue to do the exact opposite. So my point is, nothing about this is good news at all. I don't even trust the raid at face value. I think actually Donald Trump and his political operatives could have ordered it against themselves. This is the greatest thing to happen to help divide the country that I've ever seen in my life. Like, I would have made the call. Seriously, if I was working for Trump, I would have advised him to pull that off yesterday. Beautiful propaganda in so many ways. And just helps divide the country even more, which is what they want. Because again, those working against the United States are seeking division, not unity. They're seeking control. They're seeking a financial reset. They're seeking demoralization. They're using the American population against each other. And they're using that political vacuum. So instead of the American people standing up for themselves and their own human rights and intelligence, they're allowing other leaders to fill the vacuum for them. Which, you know, I think we've become weaker as a nation state, where far fewer people are actually taking action, in my opinion, to actually improve their lives. Why do you think I launched Island Project? Because it's the digital, physical Noah's Ark that is actually a solution to the current problem. See, when you realize that there is no solution, that we literally have to build and recreate the bedrock of liberty and freedom and build systems outside of the paradigm that's been weaponized against us to control us. And when you realize with finality, whether or not it's today, tomorrow, or in the coming months, in the coming years, that it's truly over, and they're getting rid of the very bedrock of Western civilization, you'll realize that the only way to rebuild, declare your sovereignty and independence, is by building new things, alternatives, and solutions. That's how America was built in the first place, by people seeking freedom that came over off the Mayflower and on ships landed in the westernized world, and then created something brand new that actually worked. And that improved people's life, I believe, from a human rights perspective and an opportunity perspective that they're really aiming to get rid of. I mean, where we're headed is an absolute nightmare in the westernized world. We're talking, an energy transfer, okay, a reset through war, financial economic reset, currency reset, inflation that still has not stopped no matter what the media is telling you. Prices are still rising. I just read a report out of the UK saying it's going to cost the average person out there $5,000 a year in energy costs, like $300 to $500 a month for the average Joe living on a base wage that is essentially poverty. And it's no different here in the United States because, again, trust the plan. That's the direction everything is going. So this is just a perfect setup, honestly. You've got to be smarter than the political machine. No one's telling you this, and this is how you know I'm right about this, and I'm telling you the absolute truth. I guarantee everyone else you watch, they're going to fish hook and catch you, right, and put you in one of those predetermined silos. It's either, Trump and the resistance, or it's the Democratic Party over here going after corruption. No one thinking for themselves, and all this will do is guarantee the collapse of the United States of America. In fact, if you want to collapse the United States of America, do that. If you don't, see the bigger picture. Look at it from a political operative's or an intellectual's viewpoint. Understand it from a much higher level of propaganda, and you'll see the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Again, are we really expected to believe 2 years of text messages and phone calls were accidentally released by the guy in Austin, Texas, who just faced trial to the 3-letter agencies, and that was just an accident? That wasn't an accident, in my opinion, guys. This thing is so much more convoluted. There are wolves everywhere, and they're vying for your attention, and they're pushing mistruths, and people are falling for it. And then a lot of people, because they're living in such fear, uncertainty, which is being pushed by the media narrative right now, that they're not doing anything about it. They're just allowing it to happen. Which, again, who wins under those scenarios and circumstances? Not you. There was a time in the Bible where it says to flee to the mountaintops. There's a time to build, like Noah built Noah's Ark when people laughed at him until it started to rain. In fact, he was actually the original conspiracy theorist until it became truth. There's a time for everything. There's nothing new under the sun. Ladies and gentlemen, read the book of Ecclesiastes. Things are very seasonal in nature. What's happened here in the West has run its course. And the people in charge, in my opinion, on both sides don't have your best interests at heart anymore. Case in point, although there's things that I can appreciate, okay, and like about both parties, I could even say, although things have become very divisive, obviously, in recent years, so that's become harder. But things I can at least critically, intellectually think about. See my phone here buzzing, so it kind of distracted me there for a minute. The point is, none of this is going a good direction at all. So, as I've said for years now, what are you going to do about it again? How does your life improve in the next few months or the next few years? How does America survive this when people have complete mistrust for the institutions and the politicians, which again is what they want? And they've removed the ability for people to think freely now too as well. So how does this work? I mean, we see Fortune 100 companies now really, they're the ones with the most power. This is no different from what we saw with companies merging with other states in history's past that ended in total disaster and global war and conflict. It's the same thing happening now. It's very much like when the British pound collapsed, okay, and England fell from grace, so to speak, and now it's no longer a player. The same thing is happening in the United States. It's just not the player anymore. I mean, honestly, people laugh. We are a laughing stock to the rest of the world. This only exudes weakness on so many levels. If I was Russia, China, Iran, any country that, supposedly doesn't like us, and even some of that is propaganda, I'd be laughing and, again, applauding what's currently happening. So Anyways, guys, I just want to encourage you that my point of this video today, and this really comes from a place of love, to Caesar's be Caesar's. Who even cares? Don't get wrapped up. Don't be deceived again. Many of you were deceived before the last few years, and you found out the truth. Hit you right in the face, right between the eyes. Don't fall for it again. Okay? This is orchestrated political division. This is orchestrated demoralization of a once great country, okay, so that it falls from within. And the American people need to wake up. They need to understand the truth. You need to step out of your cognitive biases and realize the truth. Like, again, all the points I just made in this video are pretty astute, and no one else is talking about them. It's up for you to decide what you believe and don't believe, of course. And I'm not even siding necessarily with one side. I'm just asking the questions that people fail to think through. So I don't trust anything I'm seeing at all. None of it at all. I keep repeating myself a little bit because I'm thinking out loud with you guys here live, but this is a setup. This absolutely is the setup. They've created the perfect recipe in the pot for what they want. And it's boiling now, and it's going to overflow. It's like putting the frog in there. It's going to be a slow demise. Then they're going to turn up the heat. That's what they're doing now. We are approaching an American, in my opinion, nightmare in the coming months. It'll get far worse. If you aren't activating now, I'm calling on the Christian Special Forces and warriors out there. If you're not building, if you're not clicking the link below, getting in, learning at school, bitcoinrich.com, islandproject.com, if you're not part of the solution, you're going to find yourself in a much worse situation in the coming months. Again, none of these politicians are going to get you out of debt. They're not going to help you create cash flows. They're not going to help you improve the life of you and your family. They're not going to restore your freedom or liberty. They're not going to give you back your free speech. Okay, none of that. They will do none of that. The only thing they're going to do is provide entertainment, which is what people like for whatever reason, because that's what media is, entertainment at the highest level. That's what propaganda is at the highest level. And they're going to tell you what you want to hear while your life gets worse and worse. That's the truth. There should also be, and I'm warning you guys now, an incredible sense of urgency to act. And I want to welcome everybody that's joined us and congratulate everyone that's joined us and thank all of you for your support. I've got so many new members at bitcoinrich.com, so many that have onboarded just recently this week as a part of Island Project. Those seats are filling up fast. Not everybody's going to get in. What we're building truly is a solution. It solves the problems of what's currently happening, creates freedom and liberty, autonomy and sovereignty. Will build the new systems that are needed, not just in the United States of America, but worldwide. Because we are forward-looking, seeing what's happening. We are building our financial, economic, spiritual arcs. I'm building a blockchain arc in the name of Island Project that no one else in the world is doing, creating cash flows, large capital gains opportunities, tokenizing a community, teaching you guys how to excel, and quite frankly, a nightmare and a horrific environment that is headed the wrong direction. That's why I'm out of politics. I'm not in politics. People say all the time, Christopher, you should run for political office. Why? The whole thing's corrupt. Nothing would get done. And it only breeds corruption, and the only people in it, even if they started off with good intentions, become corrupt because it's the only way to survive in the corruption. When Rome was sinking into its detestable nature of a cultural collapse, okay, there was no way to really get out unless you were building a new society. And so that's truly what we have to do. And it's not going to be easy. Just like it wasn't easy when America was founded and the 13 colonies declared their freedom and independence and built something new and fresh that empowered people and gave them the tools that they needed to survive. And in addition to that, succeed. So that's pretty much all I have for today. I mean, I can go to some questions. I want to encourage you guys, though, if you have been sitting on your hands waiting to get in at school, take the moment and do it today. What I've told you is the truth. It's absolutely the truth. Anyone can see this. I mean, I'm having a lot of conversations on the phone with private members, friends, family member. We all see this too. I mean, if you're smart at all, you understand the truth. Like, I'm probably not even telling you guys anything you don't already know. But like, how is this not obvious? Again, ladies and gentlemen, what's up, Eric? What up, John? What's up, Zephyr? What's up, Doug? What up, Spencer? Yeah, so we will definitely win. But I'll just close with that. Want to see you guys at school? The price of the course had doubled. Many of you were complaining. It's like 400 bucks. The link below that I just put down there, Island Project, will save you the discount. It's 200 bucks. Get in. Help us build the community and inroads, and then participate, okay, in Island Project and what we're building. No one else in the world is doing this, guys. No one else in the world is providing a solution. And for your own self-interest, quite frankly, you need to be creating cash flows, building your net worth, growing your communities. Only as strong as your community, it's actually your weakest link as well. We're a community. So, man, it's going to be, let's just go over a couple possibilities. Let's say they're right about Trump being taken out and then Biden being taken out. What do you think is going to happen next? How do you think that's going to look? If God forbid that happened, and I pray it doesn't, but people have said that. What if that happens next? What do you think is going to happen to the U.S.? Guys, this is going to be a nightmare. You're talking about a nightmare. Get out of the cities, strategically relocate, internationalize yourself, create cash flows outside of the system, diversify what you're doing at the very least, learn about blockchain technology. In fact, if Donald Trump owns Bitcoin, which I'm sure he does, it's unconfiscatable, so the FBI can't get to it. Yeah, I'm kind of like being facetious and joking a little bit, but it's true. Like not even his ex-wives and ex-girlfriends. It's the only unconfiscatable technology in the world. So I'm assuming Donald Trump is smart enough to own Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Maybe not, I don't know. I'm sure he at least knows about them. So again, I mean, we are entering a really dangerous trajectory here, guys. We are on the precipice of literally economic, financial, political disaster. I've not seen anything like this in my entire life. Ever. So it's going to be bad. Nowhere in the Bible does it say America. Okay, all it tells us is Babylon will collapse. That's it. So, you know, just like Jesus said to Caesar's be Caesar, he told his disciples to pay their taxes and, you know, do what needed to be done. Took loaves of bread, turned it, and fed 4,000. Okay, and healed people. He instructed Noah to build the ark for his glory. That's exactly what you guys should be doing now. I have a lot of amazing individuals from Texas, by the way, my great freedom state of Texas. I love you guys that have recently onboarded the Island Project. You are the patriots, ladies and gentlemen, from all over the world. But I love Texas. You guys are the bedrock. You are smart enough to see what's currently happening. I stand with all of you. It is such an honor to serve you and spearhead what we're doing at Island Project. Link below. Make sure you get in. Learn about what we're doing with fractionalizing real estate, our community, tokenizing it, building it out worldwide, replicating it worldwide, not just out here in Maui and Oahu. All the new technologies that we're developing. Pretty darn cool. And it's going to be needed in a world with what's coming. In fact, I'm expecting, honestly, people panicking into solutions like this very soon in the coming weeks and months. Just like people panicked into food storage when they shut the whole world down in 2020. Remember I was telling you guys to buy food for years? We broke records in 2020 in that March, April period. And I had enough stock for like a year and a half. We sold out of all of it and then didn't get it back for years, as the supply chain has still been disrupted in many areas. Same thing is going to happen with advancing technologies like Island Project when people realize they can't get in. When you're literally in the eye of the storm, okay, and it becomes more obvious that everything I just told you is the truth. Everything I've just told you. It is literally what is happening. So I don't believe anything I'm saying at all. All I see is parroting of political narratives. These are all deceptions. You know, the people speaking right now that I hear speak don't ask any critical questions at all. They won't ask a critical question about their own party. I mean, I can believe in certain things. I'm a libertarian, but I can still ask critical questions about its leadership and the people involved and think outside the box and go, you know, you're telling me 2 years of text messages just went out to the 3-letter agencies on accident and I'm supposed to believe that? I don't believe that for a freaking second. And if you do, you're probably not thinking that hard. So Again, guys, I'm just the messenger. I'm just telling you the truth. Yeah, Mexico's a good place. There's a lot of, and by the way, they're teeing up Donald Trump as the persecuted one, much like Jesus right now. This is all by design. He's the one that's going to be under mass persecution. It won't even surprise me if they press charges and arrest him even, because that would only help what they want coming. You see what I'm saying? This is about the persecution by design and then eventual resurrection, okay, of the new figure and figures are going to lead everyone into the new paradigm. This is how they're going to lead the masses where they want them to go. Okay, this is why the new Inflation Reduction Act isn't about inflation. It's about all those other things, right? Even Leonardo DiCaprio was congratulating it, congratulating the weather stuff. I'm like, yeah, well, congratulations, Leo. You just got off your Learjet today. Awesome. Thanks for helping. So, yeah, I expect further persecution of the Trump administration by design, okay, so that they can later resurrect him with perfect timing leading into 2024, okay, and then they're going to introduce exactly what I've been telling you in recent years. Trump ain't going to stop any of this. Biden ain't going to stop it. This is what they want. All of these, what appears to be two divergent roads is actually the same highway. This is what you need to understand. So where are we going? Unified world, no sovereign nation states. Financial, economic, political reset by what they've told you that they're going to do. And a less free world with more controls. Everyone's going here. See, the real divergence, and by the way, we do win. Okay, we're all going to win. Freedom and liberty will win. They can't stop it. They can't put out that fire. But the real thing that you should be doing is building, okay, new networks, new networks, new networks, new networks, new networks, new networks, connecting all of them. Guess what this is, guys? It's an island chain. It's called the Island Project, and it's outside of the system. And by the way, there's billions of dollars, trillions of dollars worth of demand for that alternative because people are fed up. I mean, just like me personally, I don't like or trust anything about the current system at all. I don't even want to be a part of it. I just want to do my own thing, and I want to be free, and I want to continue to be an entrepreneur, protect my family. I want to worship Jesus and build communities. I want to empower people with the right tools. I want to bring on people, as other stewards to help us build our project and worldwide vision. And I want everyone to be successful and lift it up. Because, see, that's real leadership. But the leadership we have now is division, chaos, hostility, persecution. And that's what we're going to get in the coming months. So I'm expecting, I was getting, shivers up my spine. Even yesterday, thinking about this at a much higher level of propaganda than most people see through all my political inroads and knowledge and being an expert in these areas for years and having a lot of relationships and contacts that normal people don't have. And honestly, it's hard for me not to fear a little bit what's coming because I know how bad it's going to get. And I think it's funny, too, how Americans always say, like, well, Chris, this just sounds like fear-mongering, like nothing's going to happen. Well, famous last words, bro. Famous last words. And I hope you're right and I'm wrong. But those are your famous last words. God rest your soul. Because it ain't going to be fun. It ain't going to be pretty. And Americans have not suffered at all yet. You think the last couple years was suffering? Most people were still getting food. Okay, the social system still worked. So they could dole out unemployment and stuff. What happens when those systems fail? What happens when Social Security recipients no longer get a check? What happens when welfare stops? Okay? The social institutions have gone awry. They're not even trusted anymore. Look at the comment section on all the media websites right now. People are saying they don't trust the three-letter agencies and, basically the bedrock institutions that make America what it is. That is an intentional recipe for disaster that will only accelerate the collapse. So if you're just onboarding the same thing that didn't work before, what's the definition of insanity? What did Einstein say? Repeating the same thing and expecting a different result? If you're onboarding the same political narratives as before that have only led us here, to absolute destruction, decay, and rottenness, then again, you're repeating not a very smart move. Don't do that. People do this in business all the time. They're like, well, Christopher, I haven't figured out how to make money yet. I'm not making any money. I'm not growing revenues. Well, then stop doing what you were currently doing and try a different tactic until you find one that works, and then magnify it. That's what you do in business. That's what you do in politics. That's what you do in life. And again, there should be an incredible sense of urgency and gratefulness every day that you're alive. Every day I get up, I'm like, thank you, God, for another opportunity that I'm here. I'm going to go kick some ass today as your soldier. You guys you have the same mindset. That's the 1000X mindset I'm always telling you guys about. So on board now, learn how to create cash flows, learn about a radical new technology, the Island Project, what I'm doing with Fractional Real Estate along with my team. Best of breed assets in the world, beach, oceanfront, vacation zone areas, mega retreats, ultimate prepping community. It's all being tokenized, parcels and parcels of land for development. Upcountry, I'm onboarding people from all over the world. Got a lot of you from Texas. Love you, Texans. Okay, I got a lot of you from a lot of great states out there and from really all over the world. Canada, Australia, a lot of Canadians and Australians onboarding because what they've been experiencing has been so terrible. See, this is what's going to happen to you. When you see how bad it gets, people are going to be panic pouring into these type of technologies and alternatives. There's no other solution. There's nothing else to do at this point. We literally have to build an entirely new free society. And, you know, I stand with all of you too. This is what should have been the beauty of America, is that we can have differing opinions, but we still stand together as a unified country, right? And have like decency and some commonality and at least respect for the people that we disagree with. That's gone. And guess who made that happen? The media and the current political infrastructure. They wanted to destroy that to create high levels of partisanship and hostility, because what does it do? It ends America. And that's what's happening, and that's the truth. And again, this is not a new formula of collapse. This is a very old one. Study Russian propaganda operations. Study the operations that the US has deployed in other countries like Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya. The first thing they do when they're taking over a nation is they take control of the media and the megaphone. They drop pamphlets from the sky and, you know, tell them who's in charge. And they pound, okay, the parroted message, and they take it over. So again, I mean, even if you look at it from just like a basic level like that, you can see that that's what's happening. And we're in the demoralizing phase now, but what's coming next is the chaos phase. And this is going to be the worst. This is going to be the worst of it, is what's ahead. Just looking at a couple of your questions here. Yeah, divide and conquer, Otis. Do some push-ups, baby. Do some push-ups. I appreciate you guys. Hey, Ethan. Well, the devil rules this world, though. It tells us that in the Bible. Satan is in charge of this world. God's going to come back to save us, and he's going to come with a sword, as it tells us in the book of Revelation, and even in the prophecy of the book of Daniel. But Satan's in charge here. And most of the people in charge in this world are, guess who they're working for? It ain't God. And that's where we are. Again, the fact that we got away from, in my view, the bedrock and foundation of Jesus and a nation founded under God and Christian principles is why everything's completely socially degraded at this point. And yes, most people are sleeping. It's pretty bad. Yeah, they are scared that we would unite. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine if what we were getting in the media was that of a projection of unity 24/7? You actually get this in other countries. For example, I've noticed as I've traveled a little bit around the world, their media is completely different from the US. The US is always telling you about the chaos and the division and the tragedy, even on local news. But in a lot of these other countries, it's like the good news channels. They'll tell you about how great things are going and how people are happy and living peaceful lives, and they're like cutting red tape on a new project development. Not in the United States, because again, we're at that point, even from an entertainment level, Look at the popular television shows and media, entertainment venues, movies, music. The culture has completely been, there is no culture. It's a wanton, degraded, lacking moral. I could come up with much more, obscene words, but I'll keep it family friendly. But it's fallen in every way. So anyways, guys, I love you. I want to see you at school. Get in today before the price goes up. Learn about blockchain. Get in now. Learn about the Island Project. It's the only way to do it. To click the link below, you'll see bitcoinrich.com. There's a link below here. Okay, it'll take you there with the auto promo code of Island Project. That will onboard you to get in to learn about all the other opportunities and just empower yourself, because you're going to need to create income in this environment, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to build communities in this environment. You've got to learn about new technologies. You're going to have to increase your skill set for your job and career. You're going to have to understand what the future trends are. You're going to have to plug into them. Okay, then go out and be the good guys and the freedom fighters and the Christian spiritual special forces and the warriors that I've been encouraging you guys to be for years, and go do good things. My goal has always been make people empowered so that you guys can go out and be the leaders all over the world. Okay, that's how we take our liberty back. That's how we take our freedom back. It's as simple as that. So anyways, I love all you guys. Jesus Christ is King. Links below. Want to see you there. These were my critical thoughts today. Hopefully this video came in loud and clear, got you to think outside the box, maybe question some things that you weren't thinking about. But then go take the action and do that by clicking the link below. What else do you have to lose, ladies and gentlemen? Do you see any other solution? I don't at all. Okay, I've told you what the solutions are. Jesus, and then taking action and building your arcs. Don't just lie down, okay, and be an ostrich and put your head in the sand. That ain't going to help you tomorrow or the next day or the next day. Again, Donald Trump isn't going to raise your income level. He's not going to help you start your business. He's not going to help you put food on the table, nor is Joe Biden. They will entertain you, though, and they will both help create more division and hostility in this country, which is where we are. And I'm not even being antagonistic to either side. I'm just like, literally, that's what's happening. That's what the media tells you every single day. And that's literally what's going on across the ground. People won't even talk to each other. Certain family members won't talk to each other based on politics right now. It has never been worse. It's going to get worse. And this is an American nightmare unless you wake up from it, which is I'm encouraging you to do. Plug in and do the things that you're going to need to do to be successful and to live your best life in service to Jesus, others, your families, your communities, your churches, and so much more. Islandproject.com. Islandproject.com. Learn about it. Islandproject.com. Onboard and get in. Islandproject.com. BitcoinRich.com. Link below. That's the only way to onboard what we're doing. And just pray. That's right, Spencer. Just pray. Hard hitting and in your face. God bless.